Hey guys, I'm Andra, and for this video, we will be going over the mic release. Now, the mic release is a vertical move, meaning you are going to be guiding the rope with your dominant hand, which is my right, and you are going to be releasing the rope with your non-dominant hand, which is my left. Now, this is a vertical move, so make sure that you're familiar with that slow is smooth, smooth is fast concept. Now, some prerequisites that you need to understand this move are your race and chase, your overhand matador's wheel patterns, and a basic float or release. Also, when doing this move, make sure that you have a neutral stance, meaning your feet are hip width apart, angled slightly inwards, and your knees are bent. Your rib cage is forward, and your hips slightly pulled back. Let's look at it from the side. And from this move, you should be comfortable turning to your east and west. And make sure that you are twisting your upper body, raising your heel as you turn. And as you go back to the neutral stance, you can transition here to many different moves, and this is a great starting point. Start learning this trick. Let's go with some hand motions. Always remember, even when you're doing the hand motions, you should be in that neutral stance to get familiar with it. Knees bent, feet angled inwards, and we're gonna start on our dominant side, okay? So the basic holding pattern for the mic release is the overhand matador's wheel pattern. We're gonna start on our dominant side, palms facing each other on my right side. Now, let's do a circle and cut pattern into the overhand matador's wheel. That's your holding pattern. Now to get into the mic release, as you circle and cut, our circle is going to look like this, with the palm of your non-dominant hand facing the back of your dominant hand. So let's do that again, starting from your dominant side. That's step one. As we circle and cut, we end step one in this position. Now this hand, which is your non-dominant hand, will be releasing that rope into step two. So step one, let's repeat it at least 8 times to get that pattern down in your head. Okay, so circle, cut, circle, repeat. Now for step two, we're going to be starting over here at the circle. So step one, remember, as a circle and cut, circle, step one. For step two, we're going to be guiding. So we're gonna release the rope. As you circle, release the rope and guide it vertically in a straight line. You don't want to guide it into a spiral pattern. You want to guide it vertically and back to the overhand matador's wheel position. So starting from step two, we're gonna guide forward and back to the overhand matador's wheel position. So repeat this a couple of times. Let's do 8 times to get that pattern down in your head. So now let's do steps 1 and 2 together. We're gonna start over at our dominant side, overhand matador's wheel directly into a mic release. So over here, right side, as we circle and cut, circle, guide, and back to your overhand matador's wheel. And let's do it one more time. Circle, cut, circle, guide, and back to your overhand matador's wheel. So you can do this again 8 times to get the pattern in your head. Okay, let's try that with the ropes this time. So grab your ropes. I'm using the Phoenix. Now, I would advise that you use a shorter rope for this one from the floor with the handles together and the apex of the rope on the floor, it's reaching my belly button. You want it to be around this length since having too long of a rope will interfere with its aerodynamics and it may tangle up in the process of doing the mic release. Start in an overhand matador's wheel pattern, neutral stance, steady breathing rhythm, leaning side to side, shifting your weight, and let's start over here. As we circle and cut, we're gonna circle, guide, and catch, and back to that pattern. So make sure, everyone, that your force is consistent as you release. You don't wanna hesitate. The rope will not have enough momentum if you hesitate, so make sure you always follow through and try to go back to those figure eights. So let's try that one more time. As we start over in an overhand matador's wheel pattern, release, catch, and back to your overhand matador's wheel. If you guys are having difficulty doing that, we can break it down directly into the release, starting with your rope behind you. Now, as we bring it forward and over, you're going to directly release it. without that holding pattern of the matador's wheel. If you can't quite get the timing right, you can always break it down, rope behind you, and immediately release into a mic release with still your non-dominant hand releasing, your right hand guiding. Let's give that a try. Rope behind you, and we're gonna release it. Release, guide, catch. And here you can follow through into your overhand matador's wheel pattern. Some additional tips for the mic release. As you release the rope, you don't want to keep it far from your body. You want to release that rope within the confines of your hips and your shoulder, and you want to keep that guiding hand close to your body and not jutting out towards the side. This is to provide that reach, so you do not have to reach out and grab that rope and change your stance. Also make sure as you do the mic release that your force is consistent and you are using your wrist. You don't want to create a shoulder movement wherein you're creating large circles. Your wrist has a mobile range of motion. So that means you have control over it into creating that circle. And catch. So let's practice that again. You can do that for around 3 minutes. Remember, don't get frustrated. Learning things takes time. Don't give up. You can always break it down starting from the back. Release, guide, catch, and rest. Now to get comfortable doing the mic release, I want you guys to also practice tempo changes. Meaning, you're going to be going fast into an overhand matador's wheel pattern. You're going to slow it down right before you release. And as you release, you're going to speed it back up again. So let's give that a try. We're going to be doing an overhand matador's wheel pattern. Fast. And slow it down before the release. And speed it up again. So this is a great way to help you understand the concept of tempo, because you slow it down right before you release and you speed it up for the rope to gain momentum and then catch it and go back to that pattern. So let's try that with the dragon roll this time. So as we're doing the dragon roll, as it goes behind you and to your front. As it goes behind you, you're immediately going to release and guide the rope vertically towards the east. So let's give that a try. Behind, release with your left, non-dominant, guide the rope, and we're gonna go back to the dragon roll as a holding pattern. And get ready, front, back, release, guide, catch, and you can go back to either the dragon roll or the overhand matador, as what we already did a while ago. Front, release, overhand matador. So I want you to practice going from your dragon roll, releasing, back to your dragon roll, and from the dragon roll, releasing and going into the overhand matador's wheel position. You can also go to the underhand matador's wheel position. Remember, the only limit is your imagination. You gotta be creative. You can transition from move to move in different directions. So just have fun with this one. Don't give up. Let me show you how the underhand matador's wheel looks like from the mic release. So behind you, release, catch. And you're now in underhand matador's wheel. And back to dragon roll. And rest. Okay, so those were 2 variations. Let's go to our 3rd variation, which is a behind the back release. Now a behind the back release is, we're still going to be starting with a dragon roll, and we're gonna turn towards our west or left side. As we turn, neutral stance, you're going to be releasing that rope with your non-dominant hand and guiding the rope still with your right in a vertical pattern. So this is what it's gonna look like. We're gonna do the dragon roll. Turn towards the east, neutral stance. You can start playing with your footwork here to get a more dynamic and natural feel. Raise your heels, and as you turn, you're going to release. And you can either go into overhand, or as you do the dragon roll and you release, you can stay in underhand. And go back, neutral stance. and rest. Now it's great to start off slow for this one. You don't want to start off really fast. You have less control over your rope. You might not catch it. You really want to start off slow, and as you release, that's when you add speed and catch. So practice this at least 3 to 5 minutes. You don't want to overdo it or get frustrated. Okay? Remember, you can always break it down just by pushing it back and transitioning. If you're not quite comfortable transitioning into different directions. So everyone, I want you to break down your drills into time, which is you practicing the broken down movement from behind for at least 3 minutes. From behind, you're gonna pushing it forward, releasing, guiding, catching back into the overhand matador's wheel. Second drill is I want you guys to practice for at least 3 minutes into turning from the dragon roll release into either overhand or underhand. Release, overhand, and the other side. So this is something that you really want to practice. You have to do rep after rep. Trust me, it's not easy, but just stick with it. You'll get there and have fun with it, okay? And practice your tempo changes from slow, neutral stance, to fast, and slow again as you do the release, okay? So that's something that will really help with the understanding and execution of this trick. So that is it for this tutorial video on the mic release. See you all for the next one. Good luck.